Okay. All right. Today is September 15th. I am feeling really good. And I tell you why. For most of you, you already know that I am a sex offender. I um signed a plea deal at the age of 17. Not because I committed a crime, but because I literally felt I had no other options. At the age of 17, in the courtroom alone, they told me if I did not sign this deal, I would get 15 years in prison. Now, I make a point to keep reiterating certain things about my case for the new videos because I just assume that everyone that fall into one of my videos and may not have ever watched any of my previous videos, and I want them to know something going into my videos, and that is one, everybody that's on a sex offender registry do not belong on a sex offender registry, me one being one of them, because people are on the sex offender registry for all sorts of cases. People are on the registry because people lie about their age. People are on the registry because people lie about what happened. People are on the registry because different states have different rules when it comes to the age of consent and what's legal and what's illegal. And people travel. People are on the registry because of angry parents. And again, people are on the registry because people refuse to listen and hear the male that's being accused, because in their mind, anytime anyone state or say someone has done X, Y, or Z to me when it comes to cases like anything that have sex involved in it, the traditional norm is for people to automatically shut down and dismiss everything you have to say in regards to the case, regardless if you're about to tell the truth or not. If you are being accused, then that's all people hear is the accusation. No one takes the time to hear you as a male. So at the beginning of all my videos, I make a point to reiterate what you may not know. So for the trolls that get on my videos and say, why you keep saying the same thing? Because I need you to understand. That's why I keep saying the same thing. Because a lot of you don't get it, don't understand, or don't want to. Or you want to create a false scenario even though you know what's happening, because you may be a part of the crowd that wish to conceal the facts of reality of what actually happened, because you may be the problem or part of somebody else's problem. At the age of 17, I signed a plea deal for touching a minor with a female that was 1 year and 4 months younger than me. She fell in between the ages of 13 and 16, and I was 17. We were 1 year and 4 months apart. Still to this day, we are still 1 year and 4 months apart. Little or unbeknownst to me at that time, this girl actually lied to her mom, and I didn't know that until I got older. I always thought it was just an angry parent, and in a sense, it was an angry parent. And it was a scared daughter. But now this scared daughter is no longer a little girl, but yet an adult, and now secretly behind the scenes, try to hold on to this false scenario that she created when we were kids in order to preserve their name and keep it in, I guess in a sense of, I don't know. The truth is about to come out. That's a fact. I'm making this video because what happened to me when I was 17, even though it happened so long ago and it's over 20 years now, it continuously come back to hunt me and bite me in so many different ways that people cannot begin to imagine. Now, I am not on probation. I'm not on parole. As a matter of fact, at the time when I was 17, it was told to me, a kid, that I would be on probation if I accept this plea deal. It was told to me if I did not accept the plea deal and lie on myself and admit guilt, even though I was not, I would get 15 years for telling the truth. If I told the truth, I would get 15 years in prison. At the age of 17, I couldn't do it. Was not gonna do it. I couldn't see myself doing 24 hours in jail at the age of 17. I don't want to do time now as an adult. They told me if I signed this plea deal, I would get 36 months probation, 6 months ankle monitor. That's what my lawyer told me. The judge, when he read my sentence, added an additional factor into the terms and conditions that I was signing as a plea as a kid for touching a minor that was 1 year and 4 months younger than me. And that additional term that the judge added into the sentence was for me to register as a sex offender. I had no idea what a sex offender was. But what I knew is that me signing this plea deal prevent me from going to prison for 15 years. My lawyer, when that judge added that additional sentence into that plea deal, I don't know if they talked about it and my lawyer just neglected to tell me at the time. But when the judge told me about the sex offender registry that I would have to participate in, my lawyer told the judge he did not tell me I would have to do that. But he bent down to me as a 17-year-old boy, a kid, in the courtroom alone without no parental guardian or guidance. He told me I would only have to tell law enforcement where I live for the next 10 years. Meaning, at the age of 27, reporting to law enforcement where I live should be complete. I fulfilled that time. I completed my probation. I completed my ankle monitor. I did 10 years of registration. Here we go. 21 years after the fact, from the time I was 17, I'm still on the sex offender registry. Over 10 years from the time that my lawyer told me I would have to participate in a sex offender registry, that I didn't even have a clue as to what a sex offender registry was as a 17-year-old kid. The only thing I knew was that I would not have to go to prison for 15 years at the age of 17 because someone lied in order not to be punished at home. I've been fighting to figure out how to fix this. I'm still fighting. It's over 20 years. I should have never been into the system for anything regarding any type of case with sexual anything behind it, because I am not a sexual deviant. I'm not a sexual predator. I am a human being that is learning about life and learn some things the hard way. And one thing that I learned is that people are dangerous. They will screw your life over and screw it up and secretly try to cover it up and take it to their grave from what they did to you. Since I've caught this charge from the time that I was 17, that I should not have caught, but yet I again signed a plea deal to avoid 15 years in prison, I have violated a couple times. I got a case for failure to register. Twice, actually. One time I moved from Michigan to Texas. Even though I continued to register as I was supposed to in Texas when I moved from Flint, Michigan, never missed a registration date. Michigan came and picked me up for failure to register while I was registering in Texas. Once again, I don't care how you add it up. I don't care how you do the math. I don't care how you wish to troll me about this and talk about how I committed another crime. I was registering again in Texas. Never missed a registration date. But the state I moved away from, which was Michigan, picked me up in Texas and charged me with failure to register in Michigan, even though I was registering in Texas. I signed a plea deal for that. I signed another plea deal for that. I could have fought it. Maybe I could have won because I never missed a registration date. And yet I was registering in one state, the state that I lived in, and was not registering in Michigan because I didn't live in Michigan. And I can't register in both states, and I can't be in two places at once. But I signed a plea deal to get out of jail in Michigan so I can return home to my new home, which was Texas, and continue to register. I did that. Another plea deal. Now, Michigan, for my original sentence, told me, or my lawyer, I should say, told me I would have to register for 10 years. And again, I'm going into 22 years already. Oh, wait, this is 22 years. And I'm still on the registry, which puts me 12 years after my due date from what my lawyer at the time, I was a boy, 17 years old in the courtroom, that signed that plea deal to avoid 15 years in prison. 12 additional years from what he told me from when I was a boy signing a plea deal to get away from maximum punishment without parental guidance. When my 10 years came while I was living in Texas, Texas refused to take me off the registry. 11 years came, Texas refused to take me off the registry. I made it all the way up to 15 years, which was 5 years past the due date of what my lawyer told me when I was a 17-year-old boy signing a plea deal in the courtroom for touching a minor that was dealing with a female that's 1 year and 4 months younger than me, that I never had sex with ever in life, not even a kiss. To avoid maximum punishment, I am 5 years overdue on the registry. Living in Texas because Texas refused to take me off. By the time my 15th year came, Texas finally tell me, 5 years after my due date, it kind of remind me when the slaves were free and Texas was the only state that refused to let the slaves go, or just refused to tell them that they was free. And that was 2 years beyond the due date. It's kind of what just happened to me again, right? So now I'm 5 years beyond my registration date because my lawyer that told me at the time I was 17 that if I didn't sign that plea deal, I would get 15 years in prison, that I will only have to register for 10 years for touching a minor that I never had sex with, that snuck away from her home, that's 1 year and 4 months younger than me, that if I wanted to get this taken care of, and if I wanted to actually get off the sex offender registry, I must go back to Michigan and allow Michigan to take me off the sex offender registry. So I go to Michigan. I get a clearance letter from Michigan, from the registry. And a couple weeks after I get my clearance letter from Michigan, Texas now returns to Michigan to pick me up for failure to register in Texas. Now, when the marshals picked me up to return me to the state I just left from, the state that refused to take me off the sex offender registry, the marshals did not want to lock me up. And they did not want to lock me up because my mom came outside with my clearance letter and gave it to him, trying to figure out why was I being arrested for failure to register again. These officers, when I tell you they debated in front of me for I don't know how long, trying to figure out if they should lock me up and extradite me or not, because they didn't understand why Texas had this warrant out for me for failure to register in the state of Texas when it was a Michigan case and I had done everything that I was already supposed to do. The marshals had no choice but to call the state of Texas to see if Texas wanted me. And you want to know what Texas said? Of course, they said yes, they wanted me. Violation 2. My second failure to register as a sex offender on a case I should have never had. A case that I was sucked into the system for when I should not have been sucked into the system. Opened a revolving door of the criminal justice system that was almost impossible for me to escape. And once again, I signed another plea deal. I went to prison for it. I did my time. I'm doing prison time for a charge that I signed when I was a boy, 17, for touching a minor that was 1 year and 4 months younger than myself, that I've never in life had sex with, not once. Never even kissed her. My lawyer said if I didn't sign a plea deal, I would go to prison for 15 years. But if I signed a plea deal, I'd get 36 months probation, 6 months ankle monitor, and 10 years to register as a sex offender. And here we go. Over 15 years from my original charge from when I was 17, in my 30s, after I completed probation, registration, or should have completed registration, and completed ankle monitor, I was going to prison. From a charge I should not have never been sucked into the system for to begin with, and from a charge that should have been done and over with when I turned 27 years old. I was in my 30s and went to prison for a technical violation for touching a minor that I never had sex with, that snuck away from her house when we were kids, and I had no idea she snuck away from her house. That went back, got caught, and told her mama a lie that I had no idea she told her mama a lie until I got grown. Always thought it was an angry parent. Now I go to prison. I do my time. I finished parole. I'm trying to be a law-abiding citizen. I'm in college even. I'm going to school. Political science major on my way to law school. Graduated 2 years in 3 years. Political science degrees from 2 different colleges within 3 years. But before I can graduate at one college, I catch another technical violation from this case that started when I was 17 as a boy, signing a plea deal when I should not have signed a plea deal on a charge I should have never signed a plea deal for, but yet I did in order to avoid maximum punishment, which was 15 years in prison. I catch this charge right before I'm about to graduate with my first degree. And the charge I catch, guess what it is? Failure to register. Failure to register. They said that I did not tell the school, the school law enforcement office on campus, about my charge from when I was 17 years old. Now, I don't hide my case. I talk to everybody about my case. I tell everybody about my case because I want people to know what happened to me. I want people to understand, and I want people, when they think of our Sixth Amendment right, due process, adequate counsel, how it failed me, and how not only it failed me, but it failed so many of us that come from underserved communities. I tell everybody because I wish not to see anybody else endure what I had to endure. Matter of fact, I talk so much about my case because I want to make a change when it comes to situations like mine. I even wrote 2 books. One book that I'm going to show you at the end is my autobiography, which tell you how I got sucked into the system. I got it in a verbal form with legal documents and paperwork within, so you can actually not only take my word, but get my word, legal documents from the courtroom, and do your own mathematical equation. And then I put it in graphic form for people who don't have time to read. So I was not trying to hide my case. Not only do I tell everybody about my case, not only have I written books, but I'm all over the campus talking about my story. The campus professors and doctors and faculty and staff and college campuses all around the state of Texas actually bring me in so I can talk to their students about things that I've been through. I'm all over my college campus telling them, having book signings. All the professors and the doctors know who I am. All the faculty and staff on the college campus, most of them got my book. I didn't even know we had a police department on campus. But since I didn't register with them, once again, I caught a failure to register case. Now, again, I know I'm going to have trolls on my account talking about another crime that I committed. And it's okay, because I know some people, that's what makes them feel good, trying to figure out how they can secretly hide and talk trash, belittle somebody. But I ends up catching another case for failure to register, even though I was registered with the municipality, doing everything I thought I was supposed to be doing. And while doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm sharing my story, catching my third failure to register. I ain't gonna lie. I was scared. Scared shitless. I had to deal with this case for over 3 years. And while dealing with this case for over 3 years, I kept smiling. I kept advocating for my community. Kept building bridges of change. Kept loving people. And continue to do what I know I'm supposed to do for everybody else. And yet, while smiling and everybody see the happy RoShawn, nobody knew almost that I was dealing with another failure to register case, or they just forgot because I was dealing with it for so long. I thought once again, I'd have to take another plea deal. And if I didn't take the plea deal, I would get a maximum punishment. But you know what I told myself? I said, this is it. I will not, never again in life, by no means, take another plea deal on a case I shouldn't have never had in the first place. I would never take another plea deal for something that I shouldn't be pleading to. And I said, if they're going to send me to prison, they just going to have to do that. Was I afraid? Of course. And I really thought that I may end up having to go down. But news to the world, I beat the case. Thank you, God. Thank you, everybody that support me. Thank you, everybody that walk with me. Thank you, everybody that's listening. Thank you, everybody who do not shut me down and shut me out because I am a male dealing with what I'm dealing with right behind the Me Too movement. Thank you for listening, understanding. Now, just thank you. But I said all of this to say I've hurt long enough. I've been dead since the age of 17, but yet still alive. I used to be a sheep, and I was a sheep because I allowed people around me to tell me how I should speak, how I need to use my words in a particular way so people don't get a misunderstanding. People want me to talk in a way that it's somewhat friendly to the people who destroyed me. But I've been a sheep for way too long. And I'm tired of running from the fox. Now it's my turn to be the wolf. I believe in an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and a life for a life. I've been dead since I've been 17. I've been trying to change everything around me with my case and cases like mine by fighting, but not really fighting. It's time to fight for real. So, I wish that the young lady that got me into this situation behind a lie in order not to be punished as a kid and now continue to go on with the story so her family name is not destroyed. But the truth is coming out, and it's coming out soon. So I hope or wish you actually come out and speak up and tell the truth before the truth is forced. But the truth is coming. Once again, thank you everybody that support me. Thank you everybody that listen to me. I don't mean to be a rebel, but I've hurt too long. And time is up for me to be a sheep. My time as a wolf has come. And the truth is about to come. So, people who lie about rape, you got time right now to fix your mistakes. People who destroy people's lives because they can, you got time to fix your mistakes. Don't let the mistakes haunt you. because they will. And what's done in the dark, I can promise you, is coming to light.